Every morning, the very first thing I do is step out onto my balcony. It isn't a big space, just a few square feet of concrete on the second floor of my apartment, but to me, it feels like stepping into a small world of my own. The pots, the soil, the leaves swaying in the light breeze, all of it makes me feel as though I've been transported somewhere calmer, greener, and slower than the rest of the city below. I never thought I'd fall in love with gardening the way I have. For the longest time, I was just someone who liked eating fresh vegetables and buying the occasional bouquet of flowers. I didn't grow up planting much, and I didn't really know what could or couldn't survive on a small balcony. What could I possibly grow out here? I used to wonder. But as it turns out, you don't need a backyard or acres of farmland to grow something meaningful. All it takes is a few pots, some curiosity, and a willingness to learn from both success and mistakes. One morning not too long ago, I discovered something in my kitchen that changed the way I look at food. I was cleaning up when I spotted a bunch of bananas I had forgotten on the counter. They were way past their prime, skin covered in dark spots, some of them almost collapsing in on themselves. In the past, I would have thrown them straight into the trash. But that morning, I remembered something I'd heard from another gardener. The more rotten the banana, the better it is for your plants. At first, I thought it was just one of those quirky internet tips, the kind you scroll past and forget about. But then I saw more and more people using bananas in their garden. Some chopped them up and buried them in the soil. Others made banana peel tea. And then there were those who went one step further, fermenting entire bananas with water and beneficial microbes, creating a kind of homemade organic fertilizer. That idea stuck with me. So instead of tossing the bananas, I decided to try it for myself. I pulled out a clean plastic bucket, chopped the bananas into small pieces, and dropped them inside. They looked like a sticky, mushy mess. But I reminded myself this was exactly what the plants would love. Then I poured in about 5 liters of water and added 100 grams of Trichoderma powder, a beneficial fungus gardeners use to speed up decomposition and improve soil health. After stirring it all together, I closed the lid tightly and placed the bucket in a shady corner of the balcony. The process was surprisingly simple, and yet it gave me a quiet sense of excitement. It felt like I had just planted another kind of seed. Not in the soil this time, but in that bucket, where something was about to transform. Over the next few weeks, I couldn't help sneaking over to check on it. Sometimes, I lifted the lid just a little to see how it was going. And each time, I was relieved. Instead of the foul, rotting stench I had braced myself for, a gentle sour smell floated up, like overripe fruit or a light vinegar. It wasn't bad at all. It smelled like something alive was happening, like nature was doing its quiet work inside that bucket. After 4 weeks, the mixture was ready. I had a brownish liquid with bits of soft banana at the bottom. I strained out the liquid, diluted it with water at a ratio of 150, and carried it over to my tomato plants. Now, my tomatoes were still babies. I had planted them just a week earlier, so they were nowhere near flowering or fruiting. Each one only had a few true leaves. But I knew from everything I'd learned that the key to healthy tomatoes starts early. It's about building a strong root system from the very beginning. So I watered them with the banana solution, hoping it would give them a natural boost. As for the leftover banana solids, I didn't let them go to waste. I scooped them up and buried small handfuls around the base of each tomato plant, tucking them gently into the soil where they could continue to break down. The change didn't happen overnight, but it was noticeable. Within a few days, the young tomato plants seemed to perk up. Their leaves grew greener, a little thicker, and the stems stood straighter. It felt like they were suddenly more alive, more vibrant. I couldn't stop smiling at them. I had turned what most people would consider garbage into food for my plants, and they had responded with gratitude. While the tomatoes were still small and quietly growing, my cucumber plants were stealing the spotlight. Cucumbers grow fast, and once they get going, they take every bit of sunshine and space you'll give them. I had set up a simple trellis against the balcony railing, and every morning I watched their tendrils curl and climb higher, reaching for the light. But cucumbers aren't as simple as just watering and waiting. They need guidance. I remembered advice I had seen from an experienced gardener. If you want healthy vines and a good harvest, you need to prune the side shoots and remove the early fruits below the sixth leaf. At first, it felt a little strange to pluck away perfectly healthy shoots. Those little suckers, sprouting from the leaf axils, looked so full of potential. And the first baby cucumbers forming on the lower part of the plant, well, who wouldn't want to let them grow? But I trusted the wisdom of those who had done this before. So with steady hands, I pinched off the small side shoots when they were still young, and I picked off the first fruits that appeared near the bottom of the vine. It wasn't dramatic. I didn't feel nervous or shaky, just a small twinge of hesitation, followed by calm acceptance. I reminded myself, this isn't waste, it's an investment. By removing these early fruits, I was saving the plant's energy for later, allowing it to build a stronger main stem and healthier foliage. And sure enough, over the next few weeks I could see the difference. The cucumber vines grew taller and stronger. Their leaves spread wide and dark green, and the plants looked robust instead of spindly. By giving up a few early cucumbers, I had given the plant the chance to thrive for the long run. Day by day, my balcony became more than just a place for plants. It became a classroom, a sanctuary, and a mirror. The bananas taught me not to waste what looks useless. The cucumbers taught me that sometimes you have to let go of something now to gain something better later. And the tomatoes reminded me that patience, right from the start, always pays off. I often think back to that morning in my kitchen, staring at a bunch of rotten bananas I would have thrown away. Who would have guessed that they would become part of this story, part of this little balcony garden that now gives me so much joy? So if you've got some overripe bananas sitting on your counter, don't toss them. Chop them up, add water and trichoderma, let them ferment, and watch your plants thank you. And if you're growing cucumbers, remember, pruning isn't about losing. It's about giving your plants the strength to reward you later. Every time I step out onto my balcony now, I see not just plants, but lessons in patience, renewal, and care. And that, to me, is the real harvest.